Good morning. On behalf of the Superintendent, Lieutenant General Richard Clark, welcome to your United States Air Force Academy and the change of command ceremony at which Major General Michelle Edmondson will relinquish command as the Commandant of Cadets to Brigadier General Paul Moga. I am C1C Michaela Donahue from Cadet Squadron 14, and with me is C2C Alexander Kleitz from Cadet Squadron 28, and we will be your narrators for today's event. Because today's ceremony is outdoors, military members are reminded that salutes will be rendered during the playing of honors and the national anthem. During the national anthem, all citizens of the United States and military members not in uniform should face the flag and place their right hand over their heart. To assist everyone's participation in today's ceremony, we will inform you when to stand and be seated.
We would now like to recognize our honored guests in attendance today. Lieutenant General Richard Clark, Superintendent, and his spouse, Amy. Major General Michelle Edmondson, outgoing Commandant of Cadets, and her spouse, Mr. David McGowan, and their children, Callahan and Jacqueline. Brigadier General Paul Moga, incoming Commandant of Cadets, and his spouse, Amanda, and their children, Madeline and PJ. The Honorable John Roth, Acting Secretary of the Air Force. General John Raymond, Chief of Space Operations, and his spouse, Molly. General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and his spouse, Shireen. And General Glenn Van Herk, Commander, U.S. NORAD and United States Northern Command. Although time does not permit us to introduce all of our distinguished guests, the United States Air Force Academy is proud to welcome all of you.
The change of command is a military custom deeply rooted in history and tradition dating back to the time of Frederick the Great of Prussia. In that period, military organizations developed flags with unique and specialized colors and designs. When the soldiers followed their leaders into battle, they kept sight of their flag. If the banner still waved after the conflict, it was a sign of victory. Having the position of great importance, that flag was incorporated into the ancient change of command ceremonies. The organizational banner was exchanged in public for all to see that he or she who holds the flag is the unchallenged and sovereign leader of the armies. The modern-day ceremony is principally symbolic, yet it still announces to all the authority of the incoming commander in the finest of military traditions.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of honors, the singing of the national anthem by C2C Maya Thorson, and the invocation by Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel James Hendrick.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. For those of you who desire, may you join me now in prayer. Holy Father, we thank you for this day and for this ceremony that gives us opportunity to consider our American way of life that flows largely from military readiness and selfless service, but comprehensively from your lavish grace. It is with sincere gratitude we thank you for this service academy, with its focus of preparing the next generation of patriots for full spectrum contributions within the air and space forces. We thank you, Lord, for our historical, present, and future cadets. May they be fortified and transformed by your power so they consistently do what is right, so they consistently love mercy, and so that they consistently walk in humility before you. To this end, may you be pleased to use them in support of human flourishing in America and around the world. Lord, as we go forward this day, we thank you for General Edmondson and all that she has given to USAFA and the Department of Defense, as she now prepares for higher levels of leadership to develop air, space, joint, and coalition forces around the globe. May you run before her and enlarge your wisdom, your courage, and your peace within her. And Lord, may you also govern the heart and mind of General Moga as he receives the mantle of leadership for the cadet wing and for a real portion of the Air Force's future. May your presence and power be known to him and through him for legacy prosperity. In conclusion, Lord, we thank you in advance for that future day, where all instruments of warfare will be transformed into instruments of welfare. And as we draw closer to that day, may you be pleased to develop love for you and love for others within every nation, every group, and every tongue. To this end we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hendrick. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the 21st Superintendent of the United States Air Force Academy, Lieutenant General Richard Clark.
Just want to make sure that was on. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to our distinguished guests and our family members in particular, cadets, friends, all the supporters throughout our community. Thank you for joining us. What a great day. What a great day. Couldn't be better. And everyone tuning in online, thank you for being here as well. We have people from across the country, around the world, joining us for this momentous occasion. And I really do want to recognize our cadets, our staff, and faculty for making this possible today. I'd like to offer a special welcome and thanks to our Air Force and Space Force senior leaders here with us this morning. First, Acting Secretary of the Air Force, the Honorable John P. Roth. The first Chief of Space Operations for the United States Space Force, General John W. Raymond, and his wife Molly. Our 22nd Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Charles Q. Brown, and his wife Shireen. Our great neighbor and wingman, the Commander of United States Northern Command and North American Aerospace Defense Command, General Glenn D. Van Herk. Thank you for being here, sir. And we have many others with us today, General Rand, General Lorenz, all of our great supporters from our nonprofit organizations. Thank you guys for being here as well. I want to say that your presence is really an example of the support that our cadets, our Academy's critical mission that we need every single day to get our job done. But especially as we face the challenges of this past year, I want to thank you all for supporting our incredible team with your incredible support. So a round of applause there, please. Now, yesterday we witnessed an inspirational event. It was the graduation of 1,019 members of the class of 21. And their commissioning as the newest officers in our Air and Space Force was the result of the grit and resilience demonstrated by an entire community dedicated to our mission success. And getting that class to graduation was also a triumph of leadership. And we have a leader here today who stepped up when our academy, our cadets, our staff, our faculty needed her the most. Over the past 2 years, General Michelle Edmondson has led our cadet wing through what I believe was the most challenging chapter in our academy's history. She hit the ground running when she arrived here in the summer of 2019, before any of us could have imagined the obstacles that lay ahead. She ensured that our training was objective-based, purposeful, deliberately crafted to develop our future leaders, and she made it clear that our cadet wing culture must be one that demonstrates as a top priority a culture of dignity and respect for all. Then, along came COVID-19, and she didn't miss a beat. Michelle, I think you knew great challenges awaited you here, but you had no idea it was going to be like it was. From the get-go, you put the health and safety of our cadets and our academy first, but your leadership also enabled our essential mission to continue in the face of this historic obstacle. You not only ensured that we could get the class of 2020 to graduation last year, but you rebuilt and executed I-Day and basic training in the midst of a pandemic, enabling us to bring the class of 2024 and keep our future classes on track. Yesterday, we saw the fruits of that expert leadership and the tireless efforts of our entire team. Our academy has responded to this challenge in a way that should make our nation proud. We have responded with leadership, and Michelle, you led from the front. We've asked a lot of Major General Edmondson in these past 2 years, and she has risen to meet every challenge. But that also means that we've asked a lot of her family. Her husband, Dave, is an Air Force veteran, so he might have known what he was getting into, but whether he knew how much he was getting into, I doubt it. But regardless, he was by Michelle's side every step of the way. I know from my own experience just how important it is to have the love and reinforcement of a supportive family, and we simply couldn't do our work without you. So thank you, Dave, Cal, Jack, your selflessness and for being part of our important mission, and our academy team was absolutely necessary for us and a great act of courage on your behalf. So let's give them a round of applause, please. And please know, Edmondson family, that you are always a part of the academy family and the Clark family. And Michelle, you stood tall in a time of great challenge, and it's clear to me that you are the right leader in the right place at the right time. And I have full confidence that you will take your impactful career of service to your next command at 2nd Air Force. On behalf of our entire academy community, we wish you and your family the best as you begin this next exciting chapter in your lives and your Air Force story. Now, our cadet wing and our entire academy is on a good trajectory, but as we turn the tide of the tactical problems of COVID-19, we look to the future to even more complex strategic challenges. And our Chief of Staff, General Brown, has reiterated to us that as we face a renewed era of great power competition, that we must accelerate change or lose. And our next commandant is a proven leader who is well aware of the operational environment we face, and he will take us and our cadets to the next challenge, to the next level to face this challenge. And I know that he will lead us to victory. Brigadier General Max Moga is coming to us from just down the road at NORAD Northcom. He's a 1995 graduate of our academy and has built an incredibly, go ahead, you earned that, you earned that. All right, you didn't earn that much. No, that's good, that's good. It's awesome to have your classmates here. I won't mention the class again. He has built an incredibly accomplished career as a pilot, but most importantly, he has been a dedicated leader of our airmen for 26 years, including challenges across the United States, Europe, and numerous deployed environments overseas. And throughout his accomplished Air Force journey, he has enjoyed the support of an incredible family. Max's wife, Amanda, is a 2001 Air Force Academy graduate who once swore she would never date a fighter pilot. Thankfully, she didn't stick to that plan. And they do share a great story, and I have a story actually that Amanda shared with me one time back in Austin, Texas, when Max was visiting recently, and they stopped at a gas station. It was one of those old school gas stations where an attendant comes out and pumps your gas. And they were in the car, and the gas attendant walked up and he goes, "Amanda, how are you?" And it was, it was a bit of a reunion there, and Max was kind of sitting there not sure what to think. But when they drove away, Amanda said, "Well, yeah, I used to date him." And so Max, he tried to keep his composure a bit, but then he said, "Well, it's a good thing you married me, otherwise you'd be married to a gas station attendant and not a general in the Air Force." And Amanda said, "No, if I hadn't married you, if I had married him, he'd be a general in the Air Force and you'd be a gas station attendant." So it's a good thing that they got married, or we'd be looking for a different commandant. But the real reason that we're glad that they got married is because of their two amazing kids, Madeline and PJ. And we're so excited to have the Moga family back to our alma mater, rejoining the team, and we are proud to welcome you back to the Air Force Academy family. Let's give them a round of applause. Also here today is Max's mother, Nancy Moga, and Amanda's mother, Iris Jones, as well as numerous other members of their family and friends. Thank you all for being here and for demonstrating how crucial the supporting role of family, friends, and community is to our mission. And Max, you know how important this mission is. We're developing the future leaders of our Air Force and Space Force and doing everything we can as a team to ensure they will thrive in an operational environment more difficult than any we've seen and that our Air Force has seen. And they must be prepared to solve problems that we don't even know about yet. And this is an incredibly difficult task, but our nation is counting on us to succeed. And as our 30th Commandant of Cadets, I know that you will apply your own unique talents and experiences, and I look forward to your partnership as we push this academy towards even greater heights. And changes of commands are always a little bittersweet. This morning, we say goodbye to a leader who has been an indispensable part of the USAFA team, but we also begin a new chapter in our academy story. Michelle, thank you for all that you've done. We wish you and your family all the best. And Max, welcome back to you and your family, to our family. We look forward to lifting USAFA to new heights with you and Amanda. Once again, I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you for your support today and every day. And go Falcons.
Thank you, Lieutenant General Clark. The position of Commandant of Cadets is unique. In the entire Air Force, no other position allows a commander to influence to such a significant degree the development of future leaders of our great service. The Commandant is responsible for all aspects of military and airmanship training for the 4,000 members of the Cadet Wing. This includes leadership training, operational skills training, character development, cadet discipline, and administering the honor system. The Commandant's mission is not only to mold our cadets into officers and leaders of character for our air and space forces and nation, but to give them as much of the knowledge and skill that they will need to contribute to fighting the global war on terror from day one after graduation. Our nation requires intelligent, assertive, well-rounded young men and women to defend its freedom. The Commandant's mission is to inspire and develop these outstanding young cadets to become Air and Space Force officers with knowledge, discipline, character, and rock-solid integrity. As a key source of Air and Space Force officers and one of the nation's premier educational institutions, the United States Air Force Academy is entrusted with producing highly motivated leaders able to assume the highest responsibilities of command. The Commandant and her team of highly dedicated military and civilian professionals have played a critical role in accomplishing this vital mission.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the medal presentation as Lieutenant General Clark presents the Legion of Merit to Major General Edmondson.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. This is to certify that the Legion of Merit, with a 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Major General Michelle C. Edmondson for meritorious conduct from the 31st of May, 2019 to the 27th of May, 2021. Major General Michelle C. Edmondson distinguished herself by exceptionally meritorious conduct and the performance of outstanding service to the United States as the Commandant of Cadets, United States Air Force Academy, Colorado, from 31st May 2019 to 27th May 2021. During this period, General Edmondson's leadership, strategic vision, and ceaseless efforts made a lasting positive impact on over 5,000 cadets throughout their journey in becoming leaders of character. Her training expertise drove purposeful, deliberate, objective-based training across every aspect of a cadet's 47-month development, transforming the culture across the wing. Her relentless commitment to creating an environment rooted in dignity and respect ensured every cadet is connected, has a sense of belonging, and an opportunity to thrive and reach their full potential. She partnered across all mission elements to lead a complete overhaul of basic cadet training, eliminating maltraining and unnecessary attrition, reaching record low injury rates while achieving record high fitness results. Furthermore, General Edmondson's steadfast leadership enabled the success of the Academy's mission throughout the pandemic. Initially, she led the dispersal of the lower 3 classes and the historic graduation of 967 lieutenants into the Air Force and the first lieutenants into the Space Force for the class of 2020. As the pandemic evolved, she led the way for the nation as the first military service academy to bring in the class of 2024 for basic cadet training, and again as she successfully reintegrated the entire cadet wing to begin the academic year. Throughout it all, General Edmondson prioritized the health and safety of the wing. She prevented outbreaks through weekly surveillance testing, created the Academy's first ever quarantine and isolation unit to provide care for those affected, and created adequate bed space by deploying 4 squadrons to 3 hotels for 8 months. Finally, her ability to navigate the COVID environment while creating an inclusive, connected environment ensured the well-being of all 4,300 cadets and enabled the success of USAFA's mission. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and impersonal endeavor displayed by General Edmondson reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of Cadets, Major General Michelle Edmondson.
Good morning. Please be seated. And Cadet Maffett, will you please put the wing at ease? So again, a special welcome to all of our distinguished visitors, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being here. General and Mrs. Raymond, General and Mrs. Brown, General Van Herk, thank you. A special thank you to General Rand for coming to support me as he's done the last 2 years, sir. I appreciate you being here. General Clark, thank you. Thank you for presiding over this. Thank you to you and Amy for everything you've done, not just for me, but certainly for Dave and the kids and all of your support and what you do every single day for Team USAFA and for the families of USAFA. Sir, thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you. To my wingmen, to my partners, to the people that have spent the last 15 months in the trenches with me, a special thank you to General Latendra, the Dean, to Mr. Nate Pine, our Athletic Director, to Miss Jen Block, our Executive Director of Athletics, Miss Colvin, Otis Jones, who's not here today, but Nataki is, Brigadier General Select Heartless, thank you. Thank you for what you have done to help me get through the last 15 months. We did it together. All of the community leaders that are here, thank you. To the Moga family, welcome back to USAFA. It's wonderful to have all of you to share this with General Moga today. I have to give a special thanks to General Silveria for the opportunity to have come to USAFA and to be the 29th Commandant, and I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity that he gave me. And then really to my team in the cadet wing, my 4 group commanders, my division chiefs, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you have done to get us here today. Dave and the kids, you know, every time we do this, every time there's another command opportunity, Dave figures out how to give just a little bit more. And we've really evolved to, you know, Dave takes care of the house, Dave takes care of the food, Dave takes care of the groceries, Dave takes care of the kids. Dave takes the kids to all their sporting practices. He makes sure they're where they're supposed to be. So Dave, thank you for that and everything you've done to get us through the last 2 years. A lot of people, you know, think that, you know, being at work 24/7, it felt like a lot over the last 15 months. Haven't seen my family a lot. Dave didn't really mind because he's been living in paradise and has taken full advantage of every minute that he had to get out and hike the mountains and enjoy living in Colorado Springs. So it's been a treat for Dave. To my kids, they continue to amaze me. They continue to just roll with it. Callahan has lettered in about as many sports as he could at Air Academy, to include varsity football as a freshman, as the kicker on the team. Basketball, soccer, varsity golf, he's done it all, and he gets straight A's. So I couldn't be more proud of my son and what he's done at 16. And then Jacqueline, the light of the family, the happiness always, continues to participate in her sports and gymnastics and soccer and do great in school. And we've taken up the habit of horseback riding at the USAFA stables, being here, and I'm not sure what we're going to do when we move away, but I think they've really enjoyed this experience as much as they could, given the challenges of COVID as well. To the team that put this together, Lieutenant Colonel Royal, AOC Extraordinaire, Master Sergeant Steinbeck, MTI Extraordinaire, and everybody else, thank you so much for putting this together. Cadet Thorson and the National Anthem, what a wonderful job. Thank you for that. I've got to acknowledge the wing. Thank you for what you've done and the leaders that you have been. And let me recognize, as of today, the class of 2022, our new firsties, the leaders of the wing. Lead them well and take good care of them. The class of 23, now our senior NCOs, the backbone of the wing. And the class of 24, now our 3 degrees and frontline supervisors, eagerly preparing for the arrival of the class of 25. So it's really hard to know where to start, and it's impossible to capture everything that has been accomplished over the last 2 years in just a few minutes. But I'm incredibly proud to get to tell the story of this wing to our most senior leaders in the Air Force and the Space Force and brag on these cadets for a few minutes. I think the right place to start is simply with, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of every cadet in the wing, every lieutenant that graduated yesterday, every AOC, AMT, MTI, the entire staff, my division chiefs, group commanders, and the 6th floor team that has taken such good care of me over the last 2 years. I've never been so humbled to be a part of such an amazing team. a team that truly epitomizes resiliency, perseverance, innovation, and grit. The service, sacrifice, and commitment to excellence that I witnessed as the Commandant is something that will remain with me for the rest of my life, as an inspiration and reminder for what is truly possible when people come together with a common purpose. I will forever be incredibly grateful for each and every one of you and what you have accomplished these last 15 months as we navigated our way through the pandemic. Sometimes it was easy to get caught up on what we had lost, the milestones that were missed, the ring dances, the commitment dinners, the recognitions, or the things that we had to do in a COVID-compliant way. Many times we asked ourselves, why us? Why are we the COVID team? I submit to you, if not us, then who? Who better to lead USAFA through and now out of a global pandemic? I'm proud that it was us, and I'm proud that we did it together. And by together, it's not just the cadet wing for sure. It was the dean's team, the amazing work of the pandemic math team, the amazing work of our med group in the 10th Air Base Wing. It was really a holistic effort across the entire USAFA team. I've had the opportunity in my career to lead at some incredibly critical moments in the Air Force. The cheating scandal in the nuclear enterprise and the sexual assault scandal at Lackland. But I stand here today and can tell you that neither of those compare to the leadership crucible that the cadet wing has been through over the last 15 months. Many would say that just getting through the last 15 months should be considered a huge success. But I would argue that they've done so much more than simply gotten through. They rose to the challenge, they met COVID head on, they developed and executed something that has never been accomplished before. And they thrived in what General Clark has called the hardest period in the history of this institution. There was no playbook, there was no checklist, there was no intel on how to fight it, where and when it would show up, and what would or wouldn't work to combat against it to mitigate its impact. Our plan had to be developed, tested, and constantly revised to get us to where we are today. We innovated, we iterated, we failed, and we started over, but we never gave up. And to our cadets specifically, I want to take a minute to reflect on the things you have personally done the last 15 months. I remember last March like it was yesterday, the day we as an institution sent all of you home. You were unable to say goodbye to your friends or the class of 2020. You went home and lived in a world of uncertainty, not knowing when you would return. And on top of that, we asked you to convert your entire learning experience to a virtual world. As you navigated at home in your virtual world, we graduated the class of 20, 6 weeks early, with the nation watching into the Air Force and the first in the Space Force. Our permanent party team remained here and relentlessly worked to figure out how to safely bring you back and continue the USAFA mission. They were determined to show the world that it was possible. By the end of May, the BCT cadre returned for training with the MTIs. The airmanship cadets came back to keep the airfield pipelines flowing. You figured out how to ROM, developed and constantly evolved our ROEs. You were in and out of various phases. You had to wear the much beloved sand t-shirts and PC shorts. You came back to an environment with no frame of reference to anything you had seen before. But you took ownership of this new domain, you adapted, and you overcame. Because of that, we were confident that with your leadership, we no doubt could indeed be the first military service academy to bring in the class of 24. And you did just that. You paved the way for all military service academies in how to run quarantine and isolation with over 200 basics in Q&I within 2 days. On top of that, you were the first military service academy to return the entire cadet population to start the academic year. You then figured out how to run quarantine and isolation for the entire cadet wing, reaching highs of over 350 cadets sometimes in quarantine and isolation. 4 squadrons were asked to deploy to hotels. And it's not as easy as it sounds. We broke the squadrons in half. We sent the upper 2, and we sent the lower 2 classes to squadrons throughout the wing to become foster members of those squadrons. At one point, we had to run ops at 3 separate hotels simultaneously to create bed space during 2 of our outbreaks. And again, it was because of you that Q and I succeeded. You ran it. You showed us how to do it. You led the way for not just us, but every service academy. You led the way for surveillance testing with the great work of the entire team, and we were the only military service academy to do 100% surveillance testing every week for the whole population. You've all been COVID tested literally countless times. You've published multiple versions of ROEs and phases that guided every single aspect of your life for the last 15 months. You had to figure out how to connect and lead in totally different ways, and you did it remarkably. You ensured the class of 24 found meaningful ways to develop bonds with the institution, and while their experience didn't look anything like yours, you are the reason they stayed. And I would suggest that because of COVID, your squadrons are closer than they've ever been before, because you figured out how to create that sense of belonging in our most challenging time. I would argue that the sense of connectedness and unity you built with one another have helped and ensured we could make it through the darkest days that we encountered. So when I think about the legacy of our time together, the classes of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24 always wins, guys. I will forever believe that you are the cadets that have led more than any that have come before you, endured more, sacrificed more, learned more, given more, committed yourself more, and supported each other more. And for that, I believe your collective classes will be the most prepared lieutenants that we've ever sent into the Air Force and Space Force. But I do want to make it clear, the experience of COVID doesn't define who you are as a wing. There is so much more to your journey and all of your success. It started 2 years ago when we began a journey to ensure that everything we did in the wing was rooted in dignity and respect, that all training was purposeful, deliberate, objective-based to ensure we create an environment where every single cadet could thrive. Over the first year, you revamped how we did basic cadet training. We partnered with the athletic department and the med group to develop deliberate PT to ensure that we met individuals where they were upon arrival and to provide the appropriate conditioning so they could meet our standards. This effort resulted in the class of 24 securing the fastest run times in the history of the academy and an exponential decrease in unnecessary injuries. You redefined how we did training across the academic year to include all military training events. You revamped recognition to ensure, again, the training was objective-based and assessed our 4 degrees ability to become frontline supervisors in the wing. And again, you made history when you reorganized the cadet wing and redefined all of the roles and responsibilities. Your collective efforts have reinforced our commitment to a 4-year development program versus a 4-degree development program. And as I reflect over the last 2 years, I've met some of the most amazing young men and women our country has to offer. And I am confident that the Air Force and the Space Force are in great hands. You've accomplished unbelievable things in the classroom, on the fields of friendly strife, at the airfield, and as leaders across the wing. Some of you are truly the story of the American dream. Many of you have overcome the most difficult odds, and so many of you are indeed the role models we want for our nation's sons and daughters so they can be just like you. So as I walk away, I'll leave you with the same words I started with 2 years ago on the terrazzo. Make no mistake, our people are our most valuable resource. So lead them well. Take care of each other, and treat everyone with dignity and respect. It has been an honor and a privilege to be your commandant, and I look forward to serving with each and every one of you on the other side. And to General Moga, congratulations. I'm excited for you. The wing is in an amazing place, and I'm confident they will all take good care of you. Congratulations.
At this time, the cadet wing will render their last salute to Major General Edmondson as their commandant. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the order and change of command.
Publish the order.
Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, United States Air Force Academy, by Special Order Number Golf 21-034, Brigadier General Paul D. Moga assumes command as the United States Air Force Academy Commandant of Cadets, effective 27 May 2021. Signed, Richard M. Clark, Lieutenant General, United States Air Force Superintendent.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The cadet wing will now render Brigadier General Moga his first salute as the Commandant of Cadets. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of Cadets of the United States Air Force Academy, Brigadier General Paul Moga.
So I think that just happened. Good morning. Thanks to all for being here on this fine day at 7,258 feet above sea level, or thereabouts. I know for many in the formation, this is the last speech remaining between you and your summer programs or your summer break. So with that, I'll try and push it up and keep it relatively brief. But I got to warn you, my son, PJ, added about 10 minutes to it late last night. So we'll see how that goes. But prior to that, please put the wing back at ease. So first, special thanks to the planners, organizers, and executors of this ceremony. C3C Thorson, Chaps, the awesome band, thanks to you as well. These things just don't happen on their own. They take months of planning and a lot of hard work, and you've done a fantastic job. My family and I really appreciate it. To the honorary commanders, leadership from the Academy organizations, as well as our teammates from the 10th Air Base Wing, thanks for being here. Thanks for all you've done for the wing. And thanks for all I know you'll continue to do in support of the wing. We can't do what we do without you. Secretary Roth, General Mrs. Raymond, General Mrs. Brown, General Van Herk, and other teammates from NORAD Northcom, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here today. Your support and your leadership make an immense difference. It's always nice to see a personal interest at the highest levels from our demanding customers. Major General Edmondson, ma'am, Thanks for everything you did over the last 2 years to get this wing to where it is today. You led through a plethora of unprecedented challenges with no approved script to pull from, while also finding ways to transform what we do, how we do it, and probably most importantly, why we do it. You have undoubtedly left your mark on this wing, and it's better off because of you, your leadership, and your tireless efforts. Best of luck to you, Dave, and the family as you move on to tackle the next challenge in leading 2nd Air Force. Lieutenant General Clark, sir, thank you for your words. And thanks to General Brown and General Raymond for hiring me into this job. It's humbling. To be joining a list with names the likes of Olds, Vandenberg, Gamble, Lorenz, Welsh, just to name a few, as well as Clark and Edmondson, is something I do not take lightly. I will say it's pretty cool to have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th best commandants, in no particular order, ever in the crowd today. Sir, I look forward to working under your leadership and alongside the Dean and the Athletic Director to execute the mission of this academy, to develop leaders of character, to train, educate, and graduate men and women warfighters with principles and integrity who are as prepared as we can make them to usher our air and space forces into the future and to lead lives of honor. Okay, to our many dear friends in attendance and 95 classmates. It's great to have you here. I appreciate y'all making the trip. KTP and pride is gold. To my family, Mom, I love you. Dave, so proud to have you here. Mom, I bet you didn't see this one coming 30 years ago when you dropped off an 18-year-old punk right up there that thought he knew everything about life. You and Amanda are the two strongest women I've ever met. Brother Dave, great to have you here. And a quick shout out to virtually to my other family and friends that couldn't make it. Aunt Alice, Brother Nick, Sister Michael Alice. Wish you could be here, and I know that you wish you could be here as well. And Dave, thanks again for going to West Point so I didn't have to. To my wonderful wife, Amanda, and awesome kids, Maddie and PJ, I sure do love you guys. I continue to serve because of a belief in and a love of our country, my God, and this Constitution. I am able to serve only because of your love and support. Thank you again. Amanda, I bet you never thought you'd be at the academy, married to the commandant, for your 20th reunion this fall. I promise I won't embarrass you, honey. To those of you who know Amanda, this will come as no surprise. She's smarter and harder working than me on my best day. But you know, I do need to come clean on something most people aren't aware of. My wife and I don't disagree on much. And when we do, we typically find a way to always work it out. But there's one thing we just can't find a way to see eye to eye on. And it happens to be the best color. I am preferential to gold. She is relatively stubborn in her love of gray, or maybe silver. But I do say that acknowledging that I'm going to be working alongside a blue tagger in the Dean and working for a red tagger as the soup. So this conversation might not exactly be over. Finally, to the men and women of the cadet wing, you have weathered one heck of a year. Hopefully one the likes of which we will never see again, ever. Well, it's not quite time to spike the football yet. We're probably first and goal, or at least inside of the red zone. So it's time to dump the nose, get some knots back on the jet, and separate from the fight. This fight. Straight lines, little hooks, and flow to the next merge. And there will be more merges to come, trust me. Remember to always hit them with mutual support and with as much SA as possible. Sorry, that's the fighter pilot and me coming out. You might have to deal with that occasionally over the next couple of years. I cannot clearly and concisely explain what it means for me personally and professionally to
be back here as your commandant. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. I owe almost everything good about my life and my career to this institution. But I know it's really not about me. It's about you, the cadet wing. You are the reason this academy exists, not the other way around. Believe me when I tell you, you are already better, smarter, more innovative, more groundbreaking, more pioneering, you get the point, than I was at this stage of the game. And you're going to need it to wear the cloth and fight and win the wars of this nation. Alongside of the permanent party, I'm here to do everything I can with the dean and the athletic director to make you the finest officers possible for the Air and Space Forces. Thank you again for being here. To the cadets, have a great summer. Stay out of trouble, please. And I acknowledge for a few, it's fights on again in just a few short weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, General Moga. General Clark will now receive the order for the pass and review.
March the command and review.
The pass and review during today's parade serves two functions for the commander. It dismisses the troops in an organized manner and at the same time provides an opportunity to inspect the state of discipline and training. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to ask you to remain seated until the playing of the Air Force song.
The wing is led today by the Cadet Wing Commander, Cadet Colonel Reginald Maffett of Jacksonville, Florida. Other members of his staff include the Vice Wing Commander, Cadet Colonel Logan Davis of Southlake, Texas, and the Wing Director of Operations, Cadet Colonel Caleb Price of Comico, Indiana. Following the wing staff is first group, under the command of their group commander, Cadet Colonel Andrew Putlock of Canton, Michigan.
Following first group is second group, under the command of their acting group commander, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel James Minette of Windham, Maine. Following second group is third group, under the command of their acting group commander, Cadet Major Scott Kinross of Maineville, Ohio. Following third group is fourth group, under the command of their group commander, Cadet Colonel Christopher Hecht of Elmsford, New York.
Today's musical support is being provided by the United States Air Force Academy Band Stellar Brass, led by Technical Sergeant Brian Gannon, and their drum major, Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for joining us this morning and have a great Air and Space Force Day.